With a little less than 4 weeks to go, the Independent National Electoral Commission and the Nigerian police are all preparing for the governorship election in Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo states. But one issue that is of concern to all is the state of insecurity in the states. While Kogi and Bayelsa are experiencing clashes among groups loyal to political parties, Imo has recorded worrying attacks by unidentified gunmen disturbing the peace of the state. INEC has appealed to politicians to desist from hitting up the polity in any way, and the police is holding interagency consultations for the purpose of ensuring the polls are conducted in a peaceful atmosphere. But the big question is, how can a credible election be conducted where safety of the electorate cannot be guaranteed? To make better sense of the situation, we are joined on the news by the founder of Ready to Lead Africa, Godbless Otubure. Godbless, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can. INEC has expressed concerns about the difficulty of conducting election in insecure environments. In some places, it's about politicians engaging in violence as a means to overpower their opponents. But in other cases, like in Imo, it is more about a group holding the state to ransom. What do you make of these scenarios?
Well, I mean, when you look at the conversation around electoral violence and how it has become part of our electoral process, it just gives the reality that we have accepted the idea that it is either you win or you win. And that is part of why we've seen the kind of challenges that we now have with our electoral process. Currently, Imo is one of the most volatile states in Nigeria, looking at some of the analyses and research that we've done, especially with our recent press conference that we held, leading up to the elections. For me, it is the idea that politicians have refused to play by the democratic rule that says if you do not win today, you can actually win tomorrow. So for Imo State, of course, the activities of unknown gunmen that have continued to plague the political process and the campaigning has also been a major problem. So for me, I think it is both the challenge of politicians who want to win at all costs, and of course, with a population that is heavily impoverished, and young people are just seeking ways to survive. And if it is the hurting of other people that will make some people think that they can find a way through in life, people have just accepted that. And I think it is the responsibility of the politicians and the young people, like we have not continually done by engaging traditional rulers and young people in the state, that will bring to this, that will bring the solution that we are hoping we can get.
There is a school of thought that elections can only be as peaceful and transparent as politicians would want it to be. This would suggest that security agencies and even the umpire are only influenced and used by desperate politicians. My question is two-pronged. Do you agree with this? And what would you advise to those stakeholders that are open for the highest bidder?
Well, that is absolutely true. Every elections, whether the presidential or the councillorship or the local government or Senate or House of Reps or even governorship now, it's actually dependent on the behavior of every stakeholder. However, like I explained in my earlier comment, the politicians play a major role in determining whether an election will be peaceful. However, this is what we found out. When you look at the average age of the guys running for governorship right now in Imo, or you look at Hope Uzodinma of the APC, and you look at the other candidates, the Labour Party and PDP and what have you, you discover that they're not youths, they're not young people, so to speak. What you then find is that we have analyzed and drilled down to say the people who still commit the violence are young people between their 25 and sometimes 35. Our responsibility now is to talk and engage that demographics, make them see reason beyond just talk, painting a picture that when they go out and carry out these crimes, which is actually a crime against the society, that even their family members can be impacted and be caught in the crossfire. And that's what we've done with the Youth Against Electoral Violence Accord, which is different from what the other peace accords do, when they talk to just the candidates. But we're talking to the guys who are capable of causing the violence, and that is the youth groups.
Well, God bless. A lot of talk has gone on across this country. People have, tried talking to people to see if there'll be a change of behavior. What technique, what kind of counsel are you planning to give that is different from everything that has been said as to encouraging people to pursue peace, that you think will be a more effective bandage to the situation?
I mean, ours is simple. Get the young people to the table. That is it. Like I've said many times, you cannot have people in their 70s or 60s signing peace accords, and then there are no young people on that table, and you expect that young people would think that they're being represented. Because the idea is always that, okay, it's the older guys that are signing the peace accord, we will do what is in our heart. So the strategy is we need to get young people to the table, and that's what we've tried to do. There is no one strategy fits all. I'm not saying that the other strategy that they've done with the peace accord is not effective, but we're just simply saying that if there are people who perpetuate violence, get them on the table. Let young people see the people that they respect and look up to are the guys that are saying we need to call for peace. We are not going to fight or kill ourselves for politicians who are not within our demographics. It's very simple.
All right.
There are people who belong to, yeah, go ahead.
All right, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we're time pressed, and this is an important question as well. Before we let you go, INEC has again promised that it will transmit the result of the elections electronically. With the experience that we've had from the general election still very fresh, are you convinced, or do you think that INEC should be trusted this time?
I mean, when you were speaking on behalf of INEC, I'm not speaking on behalf of INEC. Let me say that. When you're putting your reputation out there and saying, for people to believe INEC, you do that with a lot of caution. But I will say this: we've been engaging with the commission, and the Obo, Ifanga, the rec in Bayelsa has, reassured Bayelsans, and that's spreading through Kogi and Imo, that the results will be transmitted electronically this time. However, we have a caveat, and that is to say, when you look at the judgment of the tribunal that says that INEC still has the prerogative to determine how they tabulate and transmit results, it gives a lot of worry. But of course, I'm now telling Bayelsans and people in Kogi and Imolites to say, go out there on the 11th of November. We will be there with you. We're going to be in the states working on peace building. We're going to be talking to the youth groups. We're working with INEC to ensure that INEC keeps its words, because if INEC doesn't keep her word, it affects the democratic process. So I'm saying to INEC, and I believe the chairman, we have been accredited to observe the poll. We would do that across the 3 states, and we'll continue to work with INEC to strengthen its institutional capacities and ensure that electronic transmission of results is codified into law. That is how we win this match.
Let's hang on to the optimism that you've expressed and hope that the work you do shows in the actions that we see after the elections. Thank you so much, God bless, for speaking with us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.